An unexpected bond, asterisk, asterisk. In a small, peaceful neighborhood, there lived a 45-year-old widow named Sarah. Her life revolved around her two children, Emma and Liam, who were her entire world. After losing her husband 5 years ago, Sarah had closed the chapter of love in her life, focusing instead on her family and career. Every morning, Sarah would sit by the window with her cup of tea, watching the world outside. Across the street, a small park came to life at dawn with joggers, children playing, and dog walkers. Recently, a young man had become a regular visitor to the park. The man, Michael, was 20 years old and had recently moved to the neighborhood for his university studies. He was often seen exercising, lifting small weights, jogging, or stretching under the shade of a tree. His enthusiasm for fitness was contagious, and his energy filled the quiet park. One sunny morning, Sarah took her dog, Max, for a walk in the park. As Max ran around excitedly, Sarah noticed Michael doing his routine stretches. She smiled at him, and he returned the gesture with a warm, polite grin. "Your dog has a lot of energy," Michael said as Max playfully circled him. Sarah laughed. "He's the only one keeping me on my toes these days." That brief exchange turned into occasional conversations over the following weeks. They talked about fitness, their daily routines, and their favorite places in the neighborhood. Michael was fascinated by Sarah's wisdom and the calm way she viewed life, while Sarah admired Michael's drive and zest for living. One day, as they sat on a bench under the autumn trees, Michael shared his story. He spoke about his dream of becoming a professional trainer and how he was working part-time to support his education. Sarah, in turn, opened up about her late husband, her children, and how she had learned to find joy in little things after loss. Over time, their bond deepened. They discovered a unique connection that transcended their age difference. Michael found Sarah's company grounding and inspiring, while Sarah rediscovered the joy of companionship she thought she had lost forever. Their relationship remained respectful and grew at a pace that felt natural. Michael would occasionally help Sarah's children with their school projects or share his fitness tips with them. Though their bond wasn't conventional, it was rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and a shared appreciation for life. When people in the neighborhood noticed their growing friendship, Sarah faced questions and raised eyebrows. But she stood firm, knowing that genuine connections didn't need validation from the outside world. For Michael, Sarah was a guiding light who helped him see life beyond superficial barriers. And for Sarah, Michael reminded her that life still had surprises waiting, even after heartbreak. In the end, their story wasn't about breaking norms. It was about finding happiness and support in unexpected places. Together, they proved that love and companionship aren't bound by age. They're bound by understanding, kindness, and shared values. As Sarah and Michael's bond grew stronger, they continued to meet regularly at the park. Their conversations became a source of comfort and inspiration for both. Michael encouraged Sarah to try new things, like joining a yoga class or going on small hiking trips with her kids. Sarah, in return, became a mentor to Michael, sharing her life experiences and offering advice on challenges he faced in his studies and career. One day, Sarah's daughter, Emma, noticed the change in her mother. "Mom, you seem happier these days," she remarked. Sarah smiled, realizing how true that was. Michael's presence had brought a new light into her life, a feeling of being seen and appreciated for who she was, not just as a mother or a widow, but as an individual. Michael, too, found himself growing in ways he hadn't expected. Sarah's wisdom and encouragement helped him navigate the pressures of university life. He started seeing her children as younger siblings, helping Emma with her math homework and teaching Liam how to play soccer in the park. However, their growing friendship wasn't without challenges. Some neighbors began to gossip about their unusual connection, and Sarah started to question if their bond was appropriate. One evening, as they walked in the park, she hesitantly brought up her concerns. "Michael, people are talking. I don't want this to affect your future or cause you any trouble," she said, her voice tinged with worry. Michael stopped walking and looked at her with earnest eyes. "Sarah, I don't care what people think. What matters to me is how you make me feel supported, understood, and genuinely happy. Life's too short to let others' opinions dictate how we live. Sarah was moved by his sincerity, but knew the path ahead wouldn't be easy. She decided to have an open conversation with her children about her friendship with Michael. To her surprise, Emma and Liam were supportive. "If he makes you happy, Mom, that's what matters to us," Emma said. Buoyed by their acceptance, Sarah and Michael continued to nurture their bond. They didn't rush into defining their relationship, choosing instead to let it grow naturally. Their connection became a symbol of hope. For Sarah, it was a reminder that life could offer second chances, and for Michael, it was proof that meaningful relationships could break all barriers. Over time, the neighborhood chatter faded as people saw how genuine and positive their relationship was. Sarah and Michael found happiness not in grand gestures, but in the simple joys of everyday life. Sharing a cup of coffee, cheering for Liam's soccer games, and celebrating Emma's academic achievements. Their story became one of resilience, acceptance, and the belief that love could be found in the most unexpected places, and that sometimes the most beautiful relationships defy the norms of society. As Sarah and Michael spent more time together, their connection became undeniably romantic. It wasn't just about their conversations anymore. It was in the way they looked at each other, the stolen moments of silence filled with unspoken feelings, and the small gestures of care that hinted at something deeper. One evening, Sarah invited Michael over for dinner to thank him for helping Liam with his school project. The atmosphere was warm and relaxed, with laughter filling the dining room. After the children went to bed, Sarah and Michael found themselves sitting on the porch, gazing at the stars. "Thank you for being here," Sarah said softly, her voice barely audible over the gentle breeze. Michael turned to her, his eyes full of emotion. "Sarah, being with you feels like home. I've never met anyone who makes me feel this complete." There was a pause, a moment where the world seemed to stand still. Slowly, Michael reached out, his fingers brushing against hers. Sarah felt a warmth spread through her, a feeling she hadn't experienced in years. Their eyes met, and in that instant, words were unnecessary. Michael leaned in, and Sarah didn't pull away. Their first kiss was gentle, tender, and filled with the promise of a new beginning. It wasn't rushed or impulsive. It was the culmination of weeks of growing closeness and mutual respect. Moments that brought them closer. After that evening, their relationship blossomed into something more intimate. Michael would surprise Sarah with small, thoughtful gestures, like bringing her favorite flowers or leaving sweet notes on her doorstep. Sarah, in turn, found herself doing things she hadn't done in years, dressing up for their walks, baking him his favorite cookies, and looking forward to every moment they spent together. One rainy afternoon, they found themselves stuck under a gazebo in the park. The rain poured heavily, creating a cozy, romantic atmosphere. Michael laughed, his hair damp from the rain, and Sarah couldn't help but join in. "You're beautiful when you laugh," Michael said, his voice sincere. Sarah blushed, feeling like a young girl again. Impulsively, Michael pulled her into a warm embrace. "I don't care what anyone says, Sarah. You've brought so much joy into my life. I never want to lose this." Sarah rested her head on his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. She realized then that despite their age difference and the challenges they might face, she had fallen deeply in love. A love that defied the odds. Their relationship wasn't just about physical attraction. It was about how they made each other feel. Sarah's life became brighter, and Michael found a sense of purpose and belonging. In one particularly romantic gesture, Michael planned a surprise picnic in the park where they first met. As they sat under the same tree, Michael looked at Sarah with an intensity that made her heart skip a beat. "Sarah, you've taught me what love truly means. It's not about age or appearances. It's about finding someone who sees the real you and loves you for it," he said. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she leaned in and kissed him again, this time with more confidence and passion. In that moment, she knew that love, no matter how unexpected, was worth fighting for. Sarah and Michael's relationship continued to grow, despite the challenges they faced. While society's judgment and the whispers of neighbors were unavoidable, they both remained committed to each other, focusing on the happiness they brought into each other's lives. One day, during a family outing with Emma and Liam, Michael brought up a heartfelt topic. They were sitting by a lake, enjoying a sunny afternoon, when Michael turned to Sarah's children and said, "I want to thank you both for allowing me to be part of your lives. Your mom means the world to me, and so do you." Emma, who had grown to respect Michael for his kindness and maturity, smiled. "You make Mom happy, and that's all we ever wanted." Encouraged by their support, Michael took Sarah aside later that evening. Under the glow of the setting sun, he held her hands and looked into her eyes. "Sarah, I know our journey hasn't been easy, but every moment with you has been worth it. You've changed my life in ways I can't even describe. I want to keep walking this path with you, wherever it leads." Sarah felt a rush of emotions. Tears filled her eyes, not from sadness, but from a deep sense of gratitude and love. She realized that Michael's unwavering support and affection had brought her a kind of happiness she thought she'd lost forever. "I've never felt this alive, Michael. I want the same. I want us to keep building this life together," she said, her voice steady but emotional. A new beginning. Michael didn't propose marriage right away. They both understood the complexities of blending their lives fully. Instead, they chose to take their time, cherishing every step of their journey together. Sarah introduced Michael more openly to her close friends and extended family, who, after seeing how genuinely happy she was, began to accept their relationship. Over time, the judgment from others faded, replaced by admiration for their courage and commitment. As the months turned into years, Michael achieved his dream of becoming a professional trainer, with Sarah cheering him on every step of the way. Sarah, too, rediscovered passions she had long set aside, like painting and traveling. Together, they created a life filled with love, growth, and adventure. On one particularly special evening, they returned to the park where it all began. Sitting under the same tree, Michael surprised Sarah with a small but meaningful gesture, a bracelet with a charm that symbolized their journey together. "This is for every moment we've shared, and every one still to come," he said with a smile. Sarah slipped it onto her wrist, her heart full of love and gratitude. "No matter what happens, I know I've found something extraordinary with you." Their story didn't end there. It continued in the quiet, joyful moments of everyday life, proving that love is not bound by age or expectations. It's about finding someone who makes you feel truly alive and cherishing that connection with all your heart. The end.